Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another Have Your Say video.
Mother has arrived!
And this video is for season 18, episode 8. So today we're going to be recapping what happened in the episode, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll where you at home voted on whether you agreed with the outcome of the episode. And we'll be talking about a little bit of drama to do with Athena Dion clapping back at something Aquaria said. And some unrelated drama to do with some leaked footage showing Mistress Isabelle Brooks being involved in a fight. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Okay, so let's start by recapping the episode. So we find out that the main challenge for this week is the Snatch Game. So this is obviously the challenge that everyone talks about, happens every single year or every single season. It's kind of like the challenge that everyone I think waits for. We do find out there is a bit of a twist though, that they're doing, it's a Love Island themed Snatch Game. So they are split into two groups and there's 3 eligible bachelors who they have to kind of flirt with. So it's a little bit like the Snatch Game of Love, but just a little bit different. If you saw, I did post a video recently where I talked about the Snatch Game and why I think it's getting worse. And so many people in the comments were like, how could you say this? This Snatch Game was good, blah, blah, blah. So first of all, calm down. But what I will say is, I do think this Snatch Game was actually decent compared to some of the other ones. That wasn't the point I was making. I think my thing is more just that I
have no style or sense of fashion.
Don't really like when they change the format of Snatch Game, like Snatch Game of Love, Snatch Game Love Island, Snatch Game at Sea, like all these different formats I think just kind of slightly dilute it and make it worse. I like all the queens on stage together, not separated into groups, but that's just me. You do you, boo. Okay, so let's go through the Snatch Game performances. We'll go in order in which they appeared, and in the first batch of them, we had Athena Dion, who was doing Greta Feta Onassis, which is basically a made-up character from the Onassis family, as in Jackie Onassis, who was married to JFK before he, So this was obviously a made-up character because she was originally going to do Charlie Chaplin, but Ru, during the walkthrough, basically was not feeling it. So I don't blame Athena for changing characters and picking a random character because RuPaul basically said, do a Greek character. We know at this point, if Ru says it, then do it, because otherwise you're probably going to be in the bottom. So I don't blame her for just making up a character and doing sort of a caricature of Greek stereotypes, because that's basically what RuPaul wanted. I think Athena was fine. It was funny. There were a few things I laughed at. I do think she should have maybe just picked a real Greek person from the start. It might have been a bit easier, because I don't think this character to me didn't have a particular point of view. It was just all Greek stuff, but there was nothing to really latch onto. So I would probably give it a just okay, because I did laugh, but it wasn't the best. In the Have Your Say poll, you voted 69.2% for just okay, 21.8% for yay, and then 9% for nay. After that was Jane Don't as Truman Capote. Now, we did have Truman Capote on a recent challenge because they did that Truman Capote in the Swans. I believe it was on season 17. It was a very good performance. It was funny. She knew the character. It was very safe, I will say, though. Like, this is what I would expect that Jane would do. But it was very good, and I did laugh, and it was a good character study, so I would say yay. And in the Have Your Say poll, you agreed. 75.7%, so over 3/4, said yay. 21.5% for just okay, so almost a quarter, and then 2.8 for nay. Next up was Mia Starr as Bloody Mary. Now this one, this will probably go down in history, as Mia said, as probably one of the worst Snatch Games we've seen for a very long time. The thing that I found with it though was, I thought this was a pretty decent choice, because you can do whatever you want with Bloody Mary, because it's obviously not like a real, well, depending on how you, some people might think it's real, but Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Is she there? But the thing I didn't get is, it seemed like Mia didn't really know that much about Bloody Mary. And this is a character she prepared and came with. It wasn't like she didn't change it because RuPaul told her. So I was just really baffled. It was so awkward to watch. So unfortunately, I'd have to give this an A. In the Have Your Say poll, Now, I'm not sure. Let me know what you think, because I think it's inconclusive. But you said 96.9% for nay. I don't think that's one of the highest I think we've ever seen. 1.8% of you said yay, weirdly. And then another percentage said just okay, but it was so small it didn't actually register. Next up is Nini Coco as David Attenborough. Now, I would just like to quickly do a little PSA, public service announcement, just for any people who are not British, particularly Americans, because both RuPaul and Nini said it this way. It's not Attenborough. It's not like, it's David Attenborough. And it's the same with the town in Scotland. It's not Edinburgh, Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh. Bruh. Very simple. Edinburgh. David Attenborough. Okay, just want to make that clear for anyone, because both of them said it and I was a bit like, that's not how you say it, but whatever. So leaving aside that Nini mispronounced the character name, I thought this was such a good Snatch Game character. She looked like David Attenborough. By the way, I hope everyone knows who David Attenborough is. He's a national treasure in the UK. He's a presenter, wildlife presenter, and his voice is smooth like butter, a bit like mine.
Without knowing what you're all about.
But I thought Nini actually nailed the accent. It was a pretty good British accent. The jokes were really funny. She gave a certain point of view to David that obviously is not real, but it was still funny. So yeah, definitely this was a yay for me. And in the Have Your Say poll, 91.2% of you said yay. So I think you liked it. 7.6% for just okay. And then a weird 1.3% of you who clearly hate David Attenborough said nay. And then finally for group one, we had Darlene Mitchell as Mrs. Claus, as in Santa Claus's wife. I thought this was, again, a very interesting choice and quite a smart choice because, again, you can do whatever you want with it. And she obviously chose to go with this sort of grizzled older woman who was a bit grumpy or whatever and maybe slightly horny. I mean, I can relate to that. I think it started off strong, but she just kept laughing at her own jokes and laughing at how much she was bombing, which I actually thought was kind of funny and charming, but I don't think there was quite enough of a characterization to really push it over the edge. So it was funny, but not necessarily for the right reason, so I would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, 68.1% said just okay, 19.9% for nay though, which was the second amount, and then 12% for yay. Okay, so moving on to the second group, and the first queen up was Kenya Pleaser as Lizzo. Now, we know Kenya is a Lizzo impersonator, so it didn't make sense for her to choose her, and she really does look like Lizzo. The thing I found, though, that there were just no jokes. I felt like Trinity the Tuck. Where are the jokes?
Where are the jokes?
It very much was giving me Kenya doing her own personality, but sort of dressed as Lizzo. And it didn't go anywhere for me, and it was just really not funny. And also, how would you make Lizzo funny in the first place? I feel like it's just not a great choice because Lizzo, she is funny, but she's not known for a specific thing that makes her funny. So it's giving yourself a hard job. So unfortunately, I'd have to give this a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 92.6% for nay, so staggering amount, really. 5.7% for just okay, and then only 1.7% for yay. After that, we had Mikey Meeks as Drew Barrymore. This was such a good impersonation. Like, I never noticed half of the things about Drew, like the mouth thing. I'd never noticed that that's slightly a thing that Drew does before, but watching this was like such an amazing character study, but also she was so funny. She was so present. She had so many jokes. She knew the character. This was amazing. Definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, I was surprised that you didn't give this more, to be honest. You said 86.3% for yay. I would have given it a lot more than that. 12.3% said just okay, so I guess you're not fans of Drew Barrymore, maybe that's what it is. And then a crazy 1.4% of you said nay. Then, penultimately, we have Juicy Love Dion as Jojo Siwa. Jojo Siwa has been done a couple of times on Drag Race. I think Lemon did it on Canada's Drag Race and Elle Vosk did it on UK Season 7. And I do think that they did it better. So if you're going to do a character that's been done twice already, you have to bring something different. And I do think this was just not as good. Also, it's a shame because Elle Vosk had just done it recently on UK 7. She was really good at it. So this just kind of fell in comparison compared to that. I just think there were not really any jokes. There was maybe one or two things that were slightly funny, but to me, this was a bit of a miss. So it would be a just okay, but more towards a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 64.6% for nay, so the majority did not like it. Then it was 32.6% for just okay. I probably maybe would have inverted them, but yeah, it's around the same ballpark. And then only 2.8% for yay. And finally, we had Discord Adams as the Pope. So not the actual Pope, but just the Pope TM, any Pope. This again was such a smart choice because, again, it's someone you can make fun of. Obviously, you have to be careful how you tread with it because it's obviously a religious figure and, that kind of thing. I think it was so much comedy in that, though. The prosthetics were amazing. Her characterization was so funny. It's such a smart choice. She was so committed to the character and something I don't think we've ever really seen before. So this was definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, again, I thought you were actually going to go a bit higher than you did. It was 90.8% for yay. So that's still good, don't get me wrong, but I thought it was going to be even more than that. 6.7% for just okay, and then 2.5% for nay, weirdly. So I asked you whose Snatch Game gets a slay. That's me slapping myself because it's the Snatch Game. And you voted 37.3% for Discord Adams, 31.5% for Nene Coco, and then 22.4% for Mikey Meeks. I was very torn between Discord and Nene. I couldn't decide between the two. I think I would have to give the slay to Discord, though, just because it was such an out-of-the-box weird choice that I never would have thought of, and she did it really well and brought something so fresh and interesting to it. So, yeah, I think I'd give Discord the slay. Okay, so let's move on to the runway for this week, and the category was 80s ladies, so fashion from the 1980s. And I wouldn't know anything about that because I wasn't even born in the 80s because I'm very young.
That's false, America.
But for those of you who were born in the 80s, I mean, if you're still alive, because that's old. I mean, can you even use the internet at that age? But let me know in the comments what you thought about all of these looks in this category. Did it harken back to the days of old? Okay, so first up we had Athena Dion, and she was doing a look by Jackie Collins, and for each queen they had a reference image on screen. I really enjoyed this. It definitely was giving the original look, but obviously a different type of look. I don't like it when the queens just replicate one for one. I like that this was a reimagining or a Ru-imagining of the look. I think it looks very 80s. Athena, I think, did really well. The makeup was so good. It was very much giving me Dynasty, however you say it, vibes with Joan Collins. Loved it. So I would definitely give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 66.3% for yay, which is lower than I thought it was going to be. 29.9% for just okay. So almost a third, which I was slightly confused about. And then 3.8% for nay. After that was Jane Don't as Kate Pearson. I do like this outfit, and it is a kind of, it does give 80s and it is a slight match to the original. I can see the inspiration. I will say for Jane, this was quite simple though. We've definitely seen her in better, so I probably would give it a just okay towards a yay, but I do think it was just a slightly more on the simple side. In the Have Your Say poll, I think maybe you agreed because you said 48.1% for yay, but then 46.2% for just okay, so it's actually almost equally split, and then 5.7% for nay. After that was Mia Starr doing Prince. One thing to note on this, one of my Patreons, MJ, said, Matt, by the way, no other content creators are pointing this out. Mia Starr is holding her guitar upside down during the runway. If Ru clocked that, I could see her being annoyed, especially if she already thought Mia was coasting. Brackets, I can't take credit for this, only my husband noticed. Now, I did ask for clarification because I didn't quite know what she meant. I don't know if she meant it's the other way around on her, like Prince had it on the other way, maybe so the guitar's the wrong way round. I think that's what they mean. I wouldn't have noticed that, but if that is true, guitar people in the audience, let me know if that's true. But in terms of the look itself, regardless of whether it's the wrong way round or not, I actually quite enjoyed this. I would have definitely known it was Prince from the start. I quite enjoyed the colors. I thought it was very 80s. I really liked it. I'd give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, some of you didn't like this. You said 47% for yay, which I agree with, but then 40.6% for just okay, which is quite a lot, in my opinion. I thought it was definitely more towards yay. And then 12.4% of you said nay, which is still quite a lot. After that is Nene Coco as Cyndi Lauper. I thought this was cute. It's definitely giving the original look. You can see the inspiration. It's very close to the original apart from the jacket, or at least in this picture. It's very much giving, I could tell what it's supposed to be once I looked at the reference image. I thought it was cute, very 80s. I'd give it a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 65.7% for yay, then 30.3% for just okay. Maybe I would agree. It was a yay, but a sort of a soft yay. And then 3.9 for nay. After that, we had Darlene Mitchell doing someone you've probably not heard of before, and her name, she's a singer called Dolly Parton. I'm so glad someone did Dolly. I mean, obviously, we've been done so many times on Drag Race. I thought it was actually a pretty good Dolly, but maybe it was I guess it does look more like the reference image, but I really thought she was going to go over the top with the breasts and everything. I guess maybe this was Dolly when she was a bit younger, before she was sort of like the full caricature that we know and love today. But this was a very good outfit. I really did like it, so definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 62.2% of you said yay, so again, probably less than what I thought it was going to be. 32.3% for just okay. Maybe it's also people who thought she could have gone a little bit bigger with it. And then 5.5% for nay. The next queen up was Kenya Pleaser as Shaka Khan. Now, if you haven't watched my Scorpios recap for this week, now if you haven't done it, then basically you are a hating freeloader and you should reconsider your life. But if you haven't watched it, basically Kenya talked about this and said her designer didn't come through with this look in the end, so she made this outfit herself in the workroom in 2 hours. So that is pretty impressive. I will say the actual reference image that she chose herself, though, which she wasn't allowed to change it because the reference images have to be approved because they're Getty images. They have to be approved in advance, so she couldn't change it. It is a slightly odd look to pick, I would say, because it's quite simple. I will give her some leeway because this is not the original outfit she had planned, but this is just too simple for me, so unfortunately it would be a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, I think you agreed. 91.6% of you said nay, so, I mean, you can't get a huge amount higher than that. 5.7% for just okay, and then 2.7% said yay. After that, we had Mikey Meeks as Olivia Newton-John. This is quite an odd look to pick, I feel like, for Olivia Newton-John. Maybe it's just this was one that spoke to her, or it was just one that was available on Getty. I think the outfit itself is a pretty good sort of recreation. One interesting thing I saw is I saw a video of Mikey talking about this, and she said, because obviously the shoes were a big thing, the judges hated the shoes. At a viewing party, Mikey said that she actually asked Roxy Andrews' opinion on the outfit, and apparently Roxy Andrews said you should go with these shoes, not like stilettos or whatever. So she said that Roxy sabotaged her because apparently she mentioned it on stage.
I told them the story. I was like, you know, it's funny, I went over my entire runway package with Roxy Andrews, and when I talked about this look with her, I said, Roxy, should I do the purple character shoes or should I do stilettos? And Roxy said, no, do the character shoes. It's hilarious. I'm not even joking, y'all. All the judges simultaneously went, sabotage. And I went, oh.
But yeah, the shoes are definitely a no-no for me. First of all, they looked like they were cracking and stuff like that, which didn't look great. But also, I know that they're similar to what the original look was, but this is drag, so I think you don't have to be exactly the same. You can drag it up by having a more drag version of what it originally was. So I think this look was fine, but it was a just okay for me. In the Have Your Say poll, it was 55.3% for just okay, 26.1% though for nay was the next one, which is pretty high, and then 20.6% for yay. So you were quite split between yay and nay. Then penultimately, we had Juicy Love Dion as Celia Cruz. I loved this outfit so much. I love the color. I love the styling. It was such a good recreation of the original. And it's drag. Come on, give us something big, something flouncy with a bit of lace, big sleeves. I'm your girl. Definitely a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 87.3% of you voted for yay, so I think you liked it. 10.1% of you voted just okay for some reason, and then clearly some nasty 2.7% of you voted nay, because clearly you hate Celia Cruz. And finally, we had Discord Adams as Reba McEntire. Oh, that's actually hard to say without a top lip. But I mean, I think this was such a good version of Reba. We all know Reba. I mean, I didn't know who she was until like kind of relatively recently, probably because of Drag Race actually. But I just like that she doesn't have a top lip. I think Discord, the makeup and the outfit was such a good interpretation of Reba. Obviously, she did the Discord walk as Reba, which was just so funny. I really liked it. It was very 80s. I definitely would give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, though, I don't know. You obviously did not like this as much. It was 68% for yay. I would have given it a lot higher than that. Then 28.3% for just okay. Maybe you thought it wasn't big enough or something. I don't know. And then 3.8% of you said nay. So then I asked you, whose look gets a slay, as in the best outfit, and you voted Juicy Love Dion with 45.7%, Nini Coco second with 15.4%, and then the others were actually pretty split, but in joint third place was Athena Dion and Discord Adams with 11.6%. I definitely would give the slay to Juicy. I loved the outfit so much. Let's be honest, that original look is a drag look to start with, but it was so well done, so tasteful, so flouncy and big. Loved the color. Yeah, definitely the slay. So moving on, we find out the winner for this week is Nene Coco. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the winner? And it was actually very split. It was almost 50-50. Yes did come out on top with 53.8%, but then no got 46.2%. So for that, just under half of you, which is a lot, who said no, you did not agree. I said, who do you think the winner should have been instead? And you said 61.5% for Discord Adams, which was the most by far. Then it was Mikey Meeks with 22.7, and then Jane Don't third with 11.5. Although I loved Nene so much in the challenge, I do think she had both a good runway and a really good Snatch Game. I do think maybe Discord should have got it. And I do wonder if they didn't give it to Discord just because they wanted the face crack moment, like the Jan face crack. Because they know that Discord will act like that and she does get pressed. Because remember in the first week, she was also pressed that she wasn't in the top. So I do wonder if they're doing this just to try and make Discord crack. But yeah, I do think maybe she should have won this week. So moving on to the bottom two, we find out that it is Kenya Pleaser and Mia Starr. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the bottom two? 88.8% of you said yes to the vast majority, and then only 11.2% said no. So of that quite small percentage who did say no, I said, who do you think should have been the bottom two instead? And you voted Juicy Love Dion actually came in first, and then it was Mia Starr, so you'd have swapped out Kenya for Juicy. Personally, I do agree with the bottom two. I do think it should have been Kenya and Mia. I think they were the worst two. Because I think Juicy, although she wasn't great, she made me laugh maybe once, whereas the other two didn't make me laugh at all. Okay, so Mia and Kenya lip-synced the song Head Over Heels by the Go-Go's, and it's announced that Kenya Pleaser is announced as the winner of the lip sync and is therefore safe. So unfortunately, Mia Starr is eliminated. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip sync in your opinion? And interestingly, 77.8% said Mia Starr, and then Kenya only got 22.2%. And I think I do sort of agree. I don't think that Kenya knew the lyrics again, or at least what we saw. It looked like she was slightly doing, watermelon, watermelon, watermelon kind of thing. I don't know, but I also do feel like Mia kind of wasn't giving what I thought she was going to give. It kind of felt like she gave up a little bit, so maybe that's what it was, and that's why she got eliminated. So it was quite a difficult decision, I think. And then the final two questions. Question 8 was, based on what we've seen so far, who do you want to win the season? So this was quite split again, but actually, Nene Coco came out on top this time for, I think, one of the first times ever with 28.2%, probably because she won this week. Then it was Mikey Meeks with 22.9, and then it was Jane Don't with 18.7. But then question 9 was, based on what we've seen so far, who do you think will win the season? And this one was much more decisive. 52.2% for Jane Don't, which has been the trend for quite a number of weeks now. And then Nene Coco, interestingly, came in second with 33.4. And then the others were all pretty split. Okay, so let's move on to the comments for this week. We'll start with my Patreon comments. My Patreon's popped off this week. There were so many comments, so I'm going to have to try and group them together, and I sort of have to go through them quite quickly, otherwise we'll be here for a very long time and no one wants that.
Hell to the no.
So my Patreon devs basically said, firstly, why did they have Mia and Kenya in the bottom and not giving them a bucking song, so, like more upbeat? I agree. I think this was not quite the right song for either of these two performers. But also Deb said, why didn't they put Juicy and Mia in the bottom? Because it would have concluded their storyline, but also it probably would have given a slightly better lip sync. And I do agree. I don't know if Juicy should have been in the bottom, but it would have given us a better lip sync. And then a lot of the other comments were about Discord. So my Patreon Emmy said Discord not in the top and Mia going home after that lip sync. So I think that's quite a common thing of people thinking that Discord should have been in the top. My Patreon Max said, I'm not pleased with this elimination, but that could be exactly what the editors want. This is a very good point. I do feel like in every season, they have the rage bait elimination because they want to get people riled up on social media. And I guess it worked because I feel like this had the most amount of comments on my Have Your Say poll that I've had so far. So you could say it worked. My Patreon David said, I'm in disbelief. Kenya did bad in the Snatch Game, runway, and lip sync, and she wasn't as polished as Mia. I do think Mia should have stayed, but I do wonder if they did it for other reasons. We'll get onto that in a second. And my Patreon Patty said, I'm shocked. Kenya again didn't know the words of the song and she's still there. And my Patreon Jessica agreed that Discord should have been in the top, which I agree. I was really surprised that Discord wasn't at least in the top. I probably would have swapped out Jane for Discord personally in the top. Whether or not she should have won is different, but definitely in the top. I was gagged that she was safe. And my Patreon Nikki agreed and said, I can't believe Discord was not even in the top. My girl was robbed and it was hysterical. Again, I think it was probably deliberate by the editors to do that because they wanted that face crack and we love a face crack.
His face cracked, honey. I just love it. I want to see it crack, crack, and crack again.
And my Patreon NJ came up with something quite interesting and said, here's my riggery theory. Yes, get out your tinfoil hats. You know, I love a conspiracy theory. They said they knew Mia and Juicy had potential to be top 4, but that would make for an extremely boring Lollapalooza because usually it's the queens that have been eliminated that do the lip sync Lollapalooza. So basically saying getting Mia out now means that she will be in the Lollapalooza. So I guess this is saying they got rid of Mia so they can use her to bring her back for the Lollapalooza and she'll win the Lollapalooza. And I think that's actually a really good theory. I think that holds a lot of water. So I guess we'll have to wait to see how this turns out. And my Patreon Linda said, I was happy to see a good Snatch Game. So you obviously really liked Snatch Game. I do think it was okay. I didn't like the format personally, but said original characters, only really 2 stinkers. Stinkers being a great word. Juicy wasn't great, but compared to someone in the past, she was okay. I was sure we would finally see bye to Kenya. So yeah, I think a lot of people were thinking that Kenya was going to go this week. And then moving on to the Have Your Say poll comments. So many of the comments were about Discord. So many people were saying that she was robbed, that she should have been in the top, justice for Discord, and she doesn't deserve the edit she's getting. Again, I do wonder if it's kind of rage bait. And then the other part of the comments there was a lot about was Kenya saying, keeping Kenya over Mia, they were flabbergasted. Our flabbers were gasted. That's a good way of saying it. I expect it to be Mia to stay. Oh, someone else said, I was surprised at the outcome of the lip sync, not because I felt the judging was wrong, but because Mia seemed to almost give up. So yeah, I do wonder, maybe Ru saw something in person that we didn't see, but I was slightly gagged at the result of the lip sync. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that the lip sync edit that we saw, because we did see more of Kenya than Mia, so I think it was obvious that Kenya was going to stay, but do you think maybe RuPaul saw something in person that we didn't see, or do you think it's rage bait? So finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of drama on the back of this week's episode involving Athena Dion clapping back at season 10 winner Aquaria. After this week's episode came out, a lot of people were talking about the Snatch Game on social media, and in particular, some people were criticizing Athena for doing a made-up character. For example, a Twitter user posted a photo of Athena in character from the Snatch Game and said, "We gotta retire Snatch Game, because what do you mean a queen is doing Greek woman as her celebrity?" Aquaria then reposted this tweet and said, "Y'all gotta give this opinion up. Nothing on anyone specifically perhaps, but continuing to show up to this competition unprepared or without conviction in your prepared decisions is what needs to be retired, and perhaps some rules and standards should apply like other challenges." Athena then seemingly saw what Aquaria had said, criticizing her and implying that Athena was unprepared, and Athena commented on Aquaria's post saying, "Blah blah, shut up, blah blah." Aquaria replied to Athena saying, "I mean, to be fair, I'm suggesting that it could have been interesting had you stuck to your original idea, as I thought that had potential as a more interesting idea that also could have provided some variety. That's all, to be fair. I know a thing or two about the challenge." Some people in the comments then defended Athena and said she had to change character because RuPaul told her to. And Aquaria replied saying, "Okay, well, seems like the audience was against the adaptation as well. And honestly, I'm against the suggestion to just throw the concept of celebrity impersonation for the celebrity impersonation challenge, as I alluded to in my original post, so yeah, there's that." Aquaria continued to tweet about the situation, where she basically said she was suggesting potential solutions of what she would do if RuPaul tells you to lean into your culture. Athena herself then made jokes about the Snatch Game, and for example, she reposted a post by World of Wonder about her Snatch Game, and Athena said, "I can't believe I won Snatch Game." And it appears that she later apologized because she must have said a few things on Twitter she regretted, because Athena then said, "Had a little tequila last night and got aggressive. Sorry, I was just trying to have fun. Thanks for all the love." Aquaria also later posted making a joke saying you could do a Greek rusical of Greece, and she posted a photo of John Travolta's character with Athena's face superimposed on top, and Athena retweeted this, so presumably the two of them are cool and this was just a jokey beef. And finally, we're going to move on to a little bit of recent drama that's unrelated to season 18, which involves some leaked footage of Mistress Isabelle Brooks being involved in a fight. As many of you will know, Mistress has a popular YouTube channel where she has a series of videos called Mistress Mondays. One of her video styles involves her going onto the street and talking to different people. Well, recently, some footage was leaked on social media and Reddit, which presumably was recorded by a bystander, although it also may have been filmed by someone on Mistress's team. But the video clip shows a fight which broke out outside a club, and Mistress got caught up in it while filming a video. Mistress also tweeted this video clip saying, "Beware when you're in the streets of Houston. 1 minute you're watching, the next minute you're in it. Full video coming soon to YouTube." I then saw that someone posted a clip from a Twitter Spaces conversation between Mistress, Lux Noir London, and Luscious Massacre, where Mistress explained the background of this clip and what happened.
Will not leave us alone. Oh my God, they're going fucking crazy. So everyone won't leave me alone. I'm trying to finish the video, and I see this lesbian, and I go, and she's arguing with someone. So I go, baby, what happened? And she goes, I'll beat up anybody here. I don't give a. So you know me, I'm living. I'm like, oh, but who are you fighting with right now? And she's like, oh, this bitch in the pink jacket, this bitch in the pink jacket. I'm like, oh, well, why is she not fighting with you? And she's like, cause she pussy. I'm like, okay, well, let's go talk to her. So on camera, we go up to the girl in the pink jacket, and the girl in the pink jacket, the girl in the pink jacket is not featuring it. So then I go, but you need that, right? Baby, when I said that, she goes, oh, I need that. She starts beating her chest. She's like, I need that. And I'm like, okay, so you know me, I'm hyping her up. I'm like, okay, well, if you need that, go get that then, boo. So then the girl in the pink jacket, her brother comes up to me. Everything's on camera. It's going to be on Mistress Monday, going to be sickening. So the brother comes up. He goes, oh, you're being messy. I go, I'm not being messy. I'm being an investigative journalist, honey.
Hello.
Like, I'm not understanding what you're not understanding. So then I go, if I'm being messy, then you tell me what's the tea. So then the brother starts talking, right? And I go, why is this girl mad at you? We'll call the one girl fatty and the other one pink jacket. So
Damn.
So I go, why is Fatty mad? And he goes, well, Fatty pushed my sister on accident. Well, my sister pushed Fatty on accident, but it was like just her getting by in the bar. And then I go, oh, so it was really nothing. The boy grabs the microphone and goes, yeah, but fuck this fat bitch. Before he could even finish, do you know the fat girl sucked all the mucus and loogie in her motherfucking mouth? And just like on Flavor, and spit that loogie past my motherfucking head into his mouth. When I tell you it was like World War, all on camera. When I tell you World War III broke out, immediately pink jacket comes behind her and yanks her fucking head to the ground. So they start fighting. I'm like, what the hell? So then this other boy, the one that was with the fat lesbian, jumps the brother of pink jacket. So now I accidentally started 2 brawls in the middle of the parking lot of the club. So everyone's trying to break them up, and I'm like, y'all know, I'm like, let them fight, baby. Because why? Like, if they want to cut up, let them cut up. Like, this is what we want to remember Montrose as we remember Montrose. You know what I mean? So I'm letting the girls fight, and I'm in the middle narrating everything like it's a fight club. So I'm like, oh, like don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do your big one. And in Houston, for everyone listening, well, not even even if you're outside of Houston, but if you're ever at the club and the are fighting, let me tell you this, but especially in Texas, you have 3 minutes. If a fight goes on longer than 3 minutes, someone's about to go pull a gun. I promise you. So when I saw nobody was breaking it up, I literally told my camera crew, I'm like, let's go, because I don't even want to be in this bullshit. Right as I'm walking, that's why in the video where they throw me, you see I'm like walking outside the stairs. As I'm walking away, the other boy runs from across the parking lot to jump him again and get his lick, and they knock me over. I was like, girl, what the hell? But on camera, I said, you know, karma always gets its kiss, and I'm not excluded. I was being messy, and the universe got me together, so it is what it is.
So it sounds like in Mistress's upcoming Mistress Monday video, we'll see the footage that she shot, and maybe we'll hear a bit more about what happened. But I just thought that this was some interesting tea, and we'll have to see what the full story is when Mistress posts her video. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say video for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18, Episode 8. Let me know in the comments what you think of Snatch Game overall. Do you think they should retire Snatch Game? Or did you think that this Snatch Game was good enough to redeem Snatch Game? If you'd like to have your comments featured in my Have Your Say poll, get access to exclusive content, early access, shoutouts, lots of other great benefits, please check out my Patreon. It's a cheap way to support the channel and it goes a long way, so please check it out and I'll put a link to that in the description. Also, I'd like to say thank you so much to my amazing Patreon members. You are all absolute legends. Your support every month honestly does keep this channel going. I love reading all your comments, speaking to you in the Have Your Say poll comments, the exclusive chat. You are all absolutely amazing. Thank you so, so much. Please make sure you like and comment on this video because just that alone does make a big difference to boost it in the algorithm. And the biggest thing you can do is smash that subscribe button, and I'd love to get my numbers up, so please do because it really does make a big difference. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.